Welcome to Atlanta Live. I'm Ann White, and this is Rebecca Keener. We're going to be your hosts for this evening, and we have a great show lined up for you tonight. So you're going to want to get a comfortable seat and sit back, relax, stay tuned, because we have some great entertainers for you.
We also have Todd Burks, who is a former NFL football player, and he's a wonderful man doing some great things in the community, working with youth.
Todd, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And tell us a little bit about, first of all, let's talk about your love for the sports.
Okay.
I know you have a ministry that deals some with sports and
I
so
do.
forth. So talk a little bit about that first.
Sports has played a large role in my life. I'm from Buffalo, New York, home of the Buffalo Bills, chicken wings, and snow. And we went to, when we were growing up, our family was the first African-American family in an all-white school district. So I encountered some obstacles and some challenges, and some of the things that were said to me, my brother and my sister, were, racial epithets that were like, hey, pretty early we figured out life's not fair.
Yeah.
So I'm just a big believer that, nothing happens, everything that happens, it happens for a reason. So sports was kind of like my evener, it was my outlet. Football, baseball, track, and the reason why I love sports, it evens it out. Doesn't matter if you're short, if you're fat, if you're a different color, doesn't matter. When you're in a team and you have a common goal, it's all that matters.
That's good. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, and really, ministry is a team, and I know that you've got a team in ministry. So how do you take your love for sports and minister to people through that?
Well, in the culture that we live in now, as you know, if you turn on the TV, sports is always on, whether it's ESPN.
At my house, it's always on.
Yeah, it's always on in my house. And I'm just a big believer that, God gives us all gifts. It's up to us to use them. And I always say, potential, if you don't kind of use the gifts he's given, it kind of goes to waste. So early age, I realized, okay, sports is going to be my ticket. And, my parents were divorced. There was some infidelity in the home. And football, I realized I got to get to college and we can't afford it.
Oh, wow.
So football was my ticket. So my first college I went to was University of New Haven. I wasn't smart enough to get into Yale, so I went right down the road to the University of New Haven in Connecticut. And then I was there for a year, and that's the first time away from family. Professors don't care if you go to class or not. They'll fail you or give you an A.
It's true.
And I was blessed to get 2 3.0s both semester.
Yeah,
and
you did quite well in school, but you made it. You dedicated yourself to it.
I did.
You made it a priority in your life.
Well, if I didn't do well in school, I wasn't going to obviously be able to keep my scholarship.
Yeah.
So, you got to weigh it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So
now you played arena football. You played Canadian League football, and then you also played in the NFL?
I did.
Yeah.
Wow, and you're in the Hall of Fame as well.
Yes. So
tell us about your football career. I'm real interested in that.
So going back to the school, I'm the first person, I'm from Buffalo, New York, like I said. I'm the first person in 44 years to be inducted in our Hall of Fame, a person of color. And I'm the first African-American to be inducted into our Hall of Fame back home.
That is phenomenal. That deserves a hand.
It absolutely does.
It's a blessing.
There's the clap machine.
Yeah.
Very good. Good. So how have you used that as a platform, the Hall of Fame, and some of the things God's done in your life through football?
I'll tell you what happened. At the Hall of Fame induction, I was giving a speech, and there's about 200 people there, and you can tell where my family was because it was the one of color. And it went really well, and I was thanking my coaches because we all have mentors. They're not just athletes; they can be coaches, they can be teachers. And I had a 57-year-old lady walk up and say, I have 2 sons, and I really enjoyed what you said. One of my sons was sick, and he needed to hear what you said. She goes, I don't know what you do, but you need to be speaking to children. And I was already kind of down that path, and she just kind of gave me a little bit more push. And Underdog 34 is created because I'm kind of like the underdog. The life I lead sometimes, I'm blessed and I'm fortunate and I'm lucky because I didn't have to be where I'm at. But I've had a lot of coaches, a lot of teachers, a lot of mentors help guide me through some tough times in life, and one of them was in college. When you go to college, human beings, we all want to be a part of something, so they join fraternities, they join sororities, and fraternities, that wasn't me. So I joined Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which is what a lot of the sports, first we got our football team, and then his name was Brian Piccolo, and he was the one that kind of saw me struggling a little bit in school, transferring, and earning a scholarship and, going to college, playing sports, people think, oh, it's easy. You get free room, books, board, tuition. It's a job you're not getting paid for.
Yeah.
You're lifting, you're working out, you're in film study. So
very rigorous.
It's rigorous. Yeah. It's not easy. And Brian Piccolo was somebody that took me to my first church in Orlando called Calvary Assembly. And it was in 1993, and that is when I became saved. And it was because I was going through some tough times that Brian kind of said, hey, we're going to get through this. Because I didn't have family there. So.
Yeah. Do you remember the moment when you gave your life to Christ? What was it like?
Was
someone preaching?
Yes, it was. So I didn't know what to really expect. And, Brian had done it multiple times because he had done a lot of the athletes on the team. And when it was over, I just felt like there was a lot of stress or a lot of relief or just kind of gone. And, a lot of people just try faith last. It's okay to try it first. It's okay to not understand something and figure it out as you go. Right. And I'm just a big believer, not just with faith or school or sports or your corporate. What you hang around with, you become. And if you hang around good, solid people, you're going to be a better person. If you don't, you won't. So I have a lot of people to thank for helping me get to the point where I'm at.
God's good about placing people in our lives. If we'll just look for them and if we'll just embrace them, there's times He will bring the right people into our lives to change the direction that we're heading. And I know you have a real heart for reaching out to young adults, young kids that are going through our system. Georgia has a real high recidivism rate, of kids returning back into the system when they're in. And I know this is why you birthed Underdog 34. Is that right?
It is.
So tell us a little bit about that, because it's such an important ministry to our city, to our state, and really around the United States.
You had a couple of previous guests talking about how important it is to take care of the up-and-coming generation. If we don't, shame on us. We better, because they're going to be taking care of us. So we better do the necessary things needed now at a young age to make sure when they get to 20, 30, 40, that they're making good decisions. So I'm certified by the state of Georgia as Department of Juvenile Justice Speaker. You may wonder, well, how did you get into that? My first job when I was done playing football was teaching English to at-risk middle and high school kids.
Oh, my.
So, and I'm just a big believer in a teacher can only teach a student when he's ready to learn. I'm a big believer also where the body follows the mind. We got to work from the neck up.
Yeah.
And when I see more jails being built, and I turn on the news and I see people that honestly look like me on jail doing things, or don't look like me doing things, that they're locked up, you look at where's the family, where's the foundation, do they have mentors, are they going to school, are they in a sport? Busy kids, and what is it? The idle mind is the devil's playground.
Yeah, it absolutely
If kids
is.
are busy, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's, basket weaving, working out, football, running, trumpet.
That's good.
The busier you are, when you go to bed at night, all you require is fatigue, not drugs.
Oh, that's good.
Not anything, but just I've done well today.
Yes.
And that's why I've created the Todd Burks Foundation for tackling education, athletics, and health and wellness. I'm not an expert in everything, but those three things I've got some knowledge in.
That's great. And that's what your bracelet is? What is your bracelet?
So Underdog 34 is basically a company that I've put together in conjunction with the Todd Burks Foundation for tackling some of these problems. And basically the tagline is simple. It's focusing on mastering the game of life. We don't have all the answers, and it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not okay to not go find the answer. If you've got an internet, you can find the answer.
Yeah.
If you have mentors, if you've got parents, if you've got coaches, if you've got teachers, it's okay to ask for help. And I think kids nowadays are so worried that if they can't figure it out, they feel like a failure.
Well, we talked about that before. Relationships are so important, and the relationship that you're offering, because you talk about going to the internet, and you can find help there, but you can also find some other stuff that's not so helpful there. But you need the guidance of someone who's got the foundation, and your foundation in Christ speaks volumes into these kids' lives and moves forward. You brought a couple books with you. Tell us a little bit about this this first book that you have.
So the first book is called Sweetness by Walter Payton. So the story behind that, before I tell you, why did this guy help a stranger get a tryout with the Chicago Bears? I didn't know him from a can of paint. He didn't know me. My first agent wasn't helpful in getting me tryouts. I didn't go to a football factory like Florida or Miami. I went to the University of Central Florida, which stands for Under Construction Forever, or You Can Finish. And I got a second agent. He started getting me workouts, but I'm on a plane flying back from Chicago to Orlando, And my buddy said, Todd, Walter Payton's on the plane. I said, you're kidding
Oh,
me.
my.
And, you know, when you're a senior in college, you have pro day where they come and they time you and they test you.
Yeah.
And make a long story short, I finagled my way up to first class. We had orange juice together. We exchanged numbers. And by the time the plane landed, we made an agreement that if I kept my grades up, and I was parking cars at the Peabody Hotel to stay in shape. My dad always says tough times build character, so I stayed in shape and built character parking cars.
Right.
Make a long story short, he made a couple calls and got me a tryout. Now, I didn't make the team, I got cut, but because I got a tryout, I signed a contract in the Canadian Football League with the Ottawa Rough Riders, and then my last stop was in Arena League, Florida Bobcats.
Oh, okay.
Perseverance.
Perseverance.
Perseverance. That's absolutely awesome. And your other book just tells us a little bit more about your foundation and the health and wellness program that you have. So how can people find out more about you? And we talked about that, but let's talk about it a little bit more before we go.
The easiest way to get to it is www.underdog34.com. And then on Facebook it's Go Underdog 34
Okay.
at Facebook. Basically, we have to be a part of the problem, or we have to be a part of the solution, or we're going to be part of the problem. And I believe that
Amen.
the companies that I help and the people that are helping me put them together are helping take a stand to say we want to do our part before we check out.
And what can our viewers do to help you in that in those efforts? Can they support your ministry to help reduce that return rate back into the
They
system?
can. When you go to underdog34.com, there is a GoFundMe page. If what I've said has moved you, or if you want to learn more about what we're trying to do with my board of advisors and my people far smarter than me that have already done what I'm attempting to do, feel free to make a donation. You're welcome to contact us, and any information, any questions you have, we would love to answer them for you.
That's awesome, Todd. And we're just going to be following you as you move through into this ministry. You've been in it for several years now, and it continues to grow. But we're going to continue to follow you, and we want our viewers at home to continue to follow you as well.
He's a sharp guy.
He absolutely
I'm
is.
telling you, you're a great light for kids. I
Yes.
mean, you know, looking up to you and all that God has used you in sports and all, and I know that the best is yet to come for you. We're looking forward to seeing what God's going to do in your life. And I wish we could get a shot of his sock.
Yes.
It's so sharp. I mean, really, like ticker tape. That's what they say, ticker tape sharp.
Well, I want to thank, obviously, Channel 57, and I appreciate you guys having us on and the guests before us.
Thank you.
You reaching back to help us get our mission out to help others, because I'm a big believer success isn't about what you drive, where you live, your W-2 statement. What have you done with God's gift to help somebody else get what they're trying to achieve?
Awesome. That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.